Hi everyone, thank you for watching. My name is Fraser. I'm an experienced PTE, IELTS and OET tutor with over 12 years experience. And in today's lesson, we're going to focus on PTE describe image. By the end of the video today, you will know how to approach the task itself. You will know how to structure your answer in a really straightforward manner in order to get a high score by both the AI and the examiners. And lastly, we're going to do multiple practice activities for you to get some practice in with this task. There's been some changes this year on how you are marked in the PTE exam. You're not just marked by the AI anymore, you're also marked by the examiners. Therefore, I don't really recommend using structured and memorized templates because examiners can clearly identify if someone's using this. Therefore, I'm going to tell you a very simple structure today, not a template, a structure on how you can achieve a high mark in this activity. But first, let's take a look at how you are scored for this task. Let's start by looking at how you are actually assessed. It's broken down into three components. The first one is content, in which you get a score of 0 to 5, 5 being the highest. In its most basic form, you must describe all the key elements from the graph or image. There is a lot of information that you can include, but you only have 40 seconds in speaking. Therefore, it's impossible to mention everything, so you only take the key elements. We'll talk more about this later. Next is oral fluency, and again, in its most simplest form, in order to get a good mark, you must speak at a smooth pace without any hesitation, any false starts, or any repetitions. I think that's what's most important for you, especially with the AI. And lastly, pronunciation. With pronunciation, this is just how you articulate your words. Don't slur, don't speak too quickly. Also, try not to stumble over your words. This just comes with a bit of practice. If you don't already know, what exactly is the task? Well, you've got 25 seconds to look at a graph, image, bar chart, many things. You'll hear a beep and then you need to speak for 40 seconds. While it seems daunting at first, it really isn't a lot of time, so you have to say less than what you think. Let's begin by looking at all the types of images you can see. So what can you describe? You can have a bar chart, you can have a line graph, you can have a pie chart, you can also get a process or a diagram. People tend to find these the most difficult, but later on I'll give you a very simple structure for this. You can also get a map that you have to describe. And lastly, you'll just have a general photo to describe. Now let's look at each type of image and how you describe it. Let's start with the graphs. Have a look at the template to the left. You can take a picture if you wish, but in its simplest form, the first thing you say is just describe what you see overall in the image. How do you do that? You're essentially paraphrasing the title of the graph and describing the axes, the horizontal one and the vertical. After that, you're only describing three key features from the image you see. I usually start with the highest and lowest, and then from there choose two more random ones that you can clearly talk about. Remember to use the structural phrases though, these structural markers, in order to give your answer sequence. Lastly, you should conclude. Use the phrase overall, the graph shows, and an overall trend you can identify. Let's look at an example of how this structure can be applied. It's very straightforward, and I promise with a little bit of practice, it will become second nature to you. Let's look at the example provided. Here we have a line graph which shows the sales of bakery items during the week. And on both axes, we have the sales of cookies. And on the bottom axis, we have the days of the week. Remember the template I gave you just in the slide before, and look how it is applied here. The first section is an overview statement of the title and both axes. After that, we have the structural markers. First of all, however, you can see from the figures that you notice that there's three key features from the graph. No more, no less. Finally, if you have some time left over, you give, it's like an overview statement or a conclusion. Here I've written, from the graph, cookies seem to be the most popular food type. Just a final remark to round off your answer. Now let's look at a structure for processes. It's a little bit different from the graphs and the charts. However, it's essentially the same with a slight difference. You begin the same way. You just start with your overview statement. Give an overall picture of what you see. And then I think the easiest thing for you to do is just to go step by step through the process in what you see exactly. A lot of the time, these images are difficult to understand. They're quite academic and scientific in the way they're presented. You really don't have to understand what it's about, just describe what you see step by step. And then to conclude, you can give an overall, like again, a conclusion, a statement of what you see again in the image. Essentially, you're just paraphrasing what you see in the beginning. So let's look at the example here of how solar panels produce electricity. As you can see, it's very like scientific in its tone, and it's quite a niche subject. However, you don't have to understand exactly what it's about, just say what you see. Be careful as well of paraphrasing certain words, don't copy it. Take a look at the example. If you need more time, pause the video, but you can see you begin with your overview statement, step by step, go through what you see, and then your conclusion at the end. Now, photos I think are a little bit easier. You've got more to play with in a way. Um, Again, same as always, you start with an overview statement. What do you see in the picture? And then I think it's easier to talk about parts of the picture. Talk about the front, the back, to the left of the picture, to the right, but give as many details as possible. Use as many descriptive words as you can. Lastly, again, while it's not necessary for a picture, you can finish with an overview statement of what you see again, but this is not necessary. It really depends on your timing. I do recommend watching the timer on the screen. I didn't mention this before actually, but anything you say when the timer is finished is not assessed, and it's better to finish what you're saying. If you lower your intonation at the end of your answer, it will help you with the pronunciation score. Again, we have a picture here of a family. Now, if you do want some extra practice, you can pause the video just now. But again, have a look at my sample answer. Pause the video if you need more time to read, but as you can see, we're talking about the front, the back, to the right, at the back again, and then an overview statement at the end. Now it's time for you to practice. Again, you can use all the templates I gave you. You can take pictures, screenshots, and at first, I know it won't be fully easy for you, but I promise with some practice, you will get there. Just to review everything we learned today, the first thing I recommend is don't use a memorized template because examiners clearly know when you're using this. Instead, use one of the structures that I gave you, but feel free to adapt the answer you have depending on what you see. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about the PTE describe image or other parts of the exam, please let me know. And thank you again, and I'll see you next time.